Howdy folks, monthly update for the month of June, sitting here, or standing here, 3rd of July. Time is absolutely flying. I'm waiting with bated breath for all the team announcements to come out for the weekend's matchups. The box team is already out, waiting on the All Blacks and the French to come out as well, plus a bunch of other matchups this coming weekend. It is really test match rugby season now. We're going to have a look back at June, some of the stats and thanks for the month that was. Firstly, thank you so much for being here throughout the month of June and now the start of July. We're also going to have a look at some of the permutations for the world rankings. Even if you don't care for the world rankings, they do have a practical application, which is the seedings for the teams going into the World Cup. Remember that World Cup draw, and the seedings will be locked in for that at the end of the November internationals this year and before the Six Nations next year. So every world rankings point teams can get their hands on between now and then are going to be vitally important, with those cutoffs between kind of first seed, second seed, third seed are the ones that are going to be the really ones to watch, like between 6th and 7th, between 12th and 13th, that kind of thing is going to be really of vital importance for the way the draw goes. Looking quickly back, though, at the month of June. Thank you, as I said, so much for being here, guys. Audience members of this channel: South Africa number 1, UK 2, Ireland 3, New Zealand 4, and Australia number 5. So the kind of usual suspects. Although I do like drilling down by the cities to see where you guys are as well. Cape Town, Dublin, Auckland, and London, the top 4 cities. But I like looking at some of the smaller places as well. We had 205 views from Norway. And cities-wise, 10 views from a place in the Netherlands called Haarlem. Not the Haarlem I've heard of. 10 views from South Africa from a place called Port Shepstone, or Shepstone. And 10 views from a place in Ireland called Trim. Trim. That's a brief name. Must be kind of harder to Google. You must have to follow Trim by Ireland, I guess, to get a result on that one. But yes, wherever you guys are watching from, welcome along, and thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate having you along. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take this as the time I ask you where you click that button, because it does help out a lot. Also need to say a quick thanks to the patrons as well, who support the channel every month. There'll be a link down in the description to Patreon. Do a few videos extra for the people on Patreon, and some of the videos go out a little bit earlier on Patreon as well. So big thanks to Angus and Jack, and to all these people here. If you want to join in with these people and support the channel, check the link down in the description to Patreon. If you want to support the channel another way, if you're looking for some gear like British and Irish Lions jerseys, England Rugby Stores jerseys, All Blacks or Wallabies, if you were ever thinking about buying yourself a jersey, check the plethora of links down in the description, because all these stores are affiliated with the channel. So use those links to tell them 2 cents sent you and get yourself some rugby gear. Now, permutations for the coming matchups. Some of them I would list as kind of important, and some of them not so important, just in terms of the way the rankings are going to work. Like, Wales tour of Japan is very important for Wales. Not only do they just need a win, because they're on a hell of a losing run, but Wales are in 12th. Japan are in 13th. And remember, it's teams of 6 that are the kind of seedings. 1 through 6 are your top seeds. 7 through 12 are your second seeds. If Wales slip down into 13th, they go into the 3rd seeds for the next World Cup draw, and they do not want that. And that is what will happen if they lose to Japan this weekend. Obviously, it's 2 matches, but if Japan can get a win over Wales and continue the misery on the boys in red, Wales will potentially drop down to like 14th, below Samoa and below Japan. But, Japan will be the ones dropping if they lose to the Welsh. So Wales could at least close the gap a little bit on the Georgians, but not past them if they were to get a win. So that one is of vital importance, as I said, mainly because of the seedings and where those 2 sides are at. It should be an interesting series. It's not going to be the headline grabber when you've got other series going on against 12 and 13th, but it's of vital importance for the World Cup draw. Pumas and England, both of these sides are currently in the top seeds, 5th and 6th. But Scotland is hot on their heels. So neither side is going to want to drop points, but someone's going to drop points. So they're not close enough to catch the French, either of these sides. But basically, this one is about winning these matches between England and Argentina just to avoid potentially being caught by the Scots Scots have got their own matches to worry about. They've still got to win those for anything to happen. But yeah, England and Argentina is an important series in terms of retaining that top seed. Obviously, it's in Argentina and England are without their Lions, so that could make a bit of difference. And then there's one match, not a series, but one match between the Wallabies and Fiji. Also pretty vitally important because the Wallabies are also, along with the Scots, chasing down that top seed. They don't want to be losing to Fiji. If they were to lose, Fiji can pass the Aussies. The Aussies could at least close the gap on the 7th place Scots with a win. And remember, with the Aussies playing the British and Irish Lions, those matches aren't worth anything for Rugby World Ranking points. Obviously, they're a big match and they're going to be the focal point, largely, I think, of these July internationals because they are such a rarity. But in terms of World Rankings points, this match is kind of the be-all and end-all one for the Aussies this July. There's very few chances between now and then, other than the Rugby Championship and November Test, for them to gain more points. The French and the All Blacks one is an interesting one because both sides can take points, but both sides are still far enough from 6th that they're not really in kind of a high-risk position. This tour of the French to New Zealand has made headlines consistently for some bloody reason about the French not sending their top tier side, which still baffles me because it happens, like there wasn't this hubbub when they went to Argentina, when they went to New Zealand, when they went to Australia, when they went to Japan. People say, well, it's the All Blacks, so you have to play your best, you have to make an exception for that. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. Some people also don't like it being called a French B team. I don't have a problem with calling it a B team. If the A guys are not there, then it's a B team by fact. That doesn't mean it's a bad team. It's just not their first choice team. So both sides can take points, but it's not as vitally important in terms of where the teams sit in the rankings. But from an All Blacks point of view, they can at least close the gap on the Springboks. And they can close that gap because the Springboks can't take any points. The Springboks are playing the Italians. The gap between them and the Italians is too far for the Boks to take any points. So it's everything to risk, nothing to gain for the Boks if you are looking at it purely in terms of World Rankings points. So that if the All Blacks win and the Boks win, the gap will close. Not a heck of a lot, but it will close a wee bit. Likewise with the Irish and the Georgians. The Irish are not going to take any points if they win away in Georgia. And the South Africans, when they play Georgia, will not take anything from them in their kind of upcoming match as well. Likewise, the Irish against Portugal are not going to take anything. So these matches, if they go the way the favourites' predictions should go, with the South Africans and the Irish romping home, then there'll be no changes to the World Rankings. And then there's not going to be any changes to the World Rankings when the Māori All Blacks take on the Scots, because like the British and Irish Lions, matches against the Māori All Blacks are not worth anything for World Rankings points. But Scotland do have a vitally important match-up coming against Fiji, which is a massive, massive one for them in World Rankings terms. And remember, Scotland are in 7th. They want to be in 6th so they can avoid the likes of South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, France in the next World Cup draw. So, yes, they've also got Samoa, but that one's less important because they're not going to take many points if they win that, the Scots. But the Fiji one is vitally, vitally important. So there you go, folks. There are other matches on. These are just the kind of main ones I have highlighted. Like I think the USA is taking on Belgium, and there are other matches around the traps. But yes, these are the big ones. These ones, I think, Japan against Wales, Argentina against England, and then Wallabies up against Fiji, plus when the Scots take on Fiji. Those are your vitally important ones in terms of world rankings. Everything else is a little bit less so important, but obviously everyone wants to win. You guys let us know your thoughts. As I said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much for being here. Thanks to the patrons. Check out the jerseys, all that kind of stuff. Take care, folks, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.